These are three fables for our time. The first is the wolf at the door. Mr. and Mrs. Sheep were sitting in their sitting room with their daughter, who was as pretty as she was edible, when there was a knock at the front door.
It's a gentleman caller,
Said the daughter.
It's the Fuller brush man.
Said her mother.
The cautious father got up and looked out the window.
It's the wolf. I can see his tail. The wolf brushed his tail, primped, and put his comb away.
Don't be silly,
Said the mother.
It's the Fuller brush man, and that's his brush.
And she went to the door and opened it, and the wolf came in and ran away with the daughter.
You were right after all.
Admitted the mother sheepishly.
Moral.
Mother doesn't always know best.
The unicorn in the garden. Once upon a sunny morning, a man who sat in a breakfast nook looked up from his scrambled eggs to see a white unicorn with a gold horn quietly cropping the roses in the garden. The man went up to the bedroom where his wife was still asleep and woke her.
There's a unicorn in the garden eating roses. She opened one unfriendly eye and looked at him.
The unicorn is a mythical beast.
She turned her back on him.
The man walked slowly downstairs and out into the garden. The unicorn was still there. He was now browsing among the tulips.
Here, unicorn!
He pulled up a lily and gave it to him. The unicorn ate it bravely. With a high heart, because there was a unicorn in his garden, the man went upstairs and roused his wife again.
The unicorn ate a lily! His wife sat up in bed and looked at him coldly.
You are a booby, and I'm going to have you put in the booby hatch. The man who had never liked the words booby and booby hatch, and who liked them even less on a shining morning when there was a unicorn in his garden, thought for a moment.
We'll see about that.
He walked to the door.
He has a golden horn in the middle of his forehead.
Then he went back to the garden to watch the unicorn. But the unicorn had gone away. The man sat down among the roses and went to sleep.
As soon as the husband had gone out of the house, the wife got up and dressed as fast as she could. She was very excited and there was a gloat in her eye. She telephoned the police and she telephoned the psychiatrist. She told them to hurry to her house and to bring a straitjacket. When the police and the psychiatrist arrived, they sat down in chairs and looked at her with great interest.
My husband saw a unicorn this morning.
The police looked at the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist looked at the police.
He told me it ate a lily.
The psychiatrist looked at the police, and the police looked at the psychiatrist.
He told me it had a gold horn in the middle of its forehead.
At a solemn signal from the psychiatrist, The police leaped from the chair and seized the wife. They had a hard time subduing her, for she put up a terrific struggle. But they finally subdued her just as they got her into the straitjacket. The husband came back into the house. Did you tell your wife you saw a unicorn? Of course not. The unicorn is a mythical beast. That's all I wanted to know. I'm sorry, sir, but your wife is as crazy as a jaybird. So they took her away, cursing and screaming, and shut her up in an institution.
The husband lived happily ever after. Moral.
Don't count your boobies until they're hatched.
The little girl and the wolf. One afternoon, a big wolf waited in a dark forest for a little girl to come along, carrying a basket of food to her grandmother. Finally, a little girl did come along, and she was carrying a basket of food.
Are you carrying that basket to your grandmother?
Asked the wolf.
The little girl said,
Yes, I am. So the wolf asked her,
where does your grandmother live? And the little girl told him.
when the little girl opened the door of her grandmother's house, she saw there was somebody in bed with a nightcap and a nightcap. She had approached no nearer than 25 feet from the bed when she saw that it was not her grandmother, but the wolf.
For even in a nightcap, a wolf does not look any more like your grandmother than the Metro Goldwyn Mayer lion looks like George Bush.
So the little girl took an automatic out of her basket and shot the wolf dead. Bang! Moral.
It is not so easy to fool little girls nowadays as it once was.